Hi, my name is Dialslinta, and today I will be talking to you about what geology is and how it impacts society. So basically what geology is the study of the earth, the materials that it's made out of, the structures that make those materials, and the processes that we act upon. Also, we study the organisms that inhabit the planet. As well, we really look into the process of the organisms that have changed over time. Another thing that geology focuses on is basically the history of the Earth, of our planet, and that entails how things that have occurred in the past, how can they influence the future. So essentially, geologists can foresee certain events that could happen. For example, let's take natural disasters, landslides, earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions. They can take those events that have happened and they could foresee basically if it would happen again just by studying the structure of it, seeing what caused it, what was the formation of it, and how can we foresee it next time. As well, they can develop maps where it shows areas that have been through these natural disasters and can most likely be hit again by one of them. So essentially, we could have maps where they can tell us, hey, you know what, there was an earthquake here and it's most likely that it can happen again. As well, they study the materials that are used in the human's daily life, which can be oil, natural gas, groundwater, metals, etc. But for mines, they can kind of detect where they can find most of the resource that they're looking for. As well with the oil, they can kind of tell, okay, if there's one place that you saw oil at and we found oil, then most likely there could be one 10 miles away or something like that. But they can essentially kind of just um, analyze the structures and kind of see where they can be located at. As well, let's talk about climate change. That's something that we are all used to. We most likely have seen the Weather Channel every so often, but geology helps with all that, kind of seeing what the weather will be like tomorrow, the next day, in a week. I don't think it could be all the way up to a month being 100% accurate, but we can foresee that, and that's part of what geology does. It just helps us understand how the planet works, how it's going about it, and what can be foreseen in the future. So in my daily life, as I had mentioned before, I'm a community mobilizer, and I'm actually working with the KU architecture group this semester and the past semester, and I have learned a lot from them by how they evaluate the land, how they put up their structures, how this land can be kind of a problematic for them because it's not right or it's not flat enough, etc., or what they find under the ground. It's crazy things that I have never ever thought about. I myself don't really know much about geology, but I've been learning a lot and I can tie it to different things. As well, we have a farm in Split Log Avenue here in Kansas City, and when we started building that farm, we had to dig into the ground. We had to find if the soil would be right to plant vegetables, cultivate vegetables, flowers, plants, etc. And those are all things that I never thought about that, would go into place. I never really thought, oh, hey, they go through all these processes to make sure that we can plant, to make sure that we can live here, to make sure that they can put up this structure here, etc. And then I think about other things that I've heard too, especially in this week's lesson. It's just how the world was Pangea before, and it all separated. How each boundary is either pushing them together, pushing them apart, or going opposite ways. That in itself, I never really knew about, but it's kind of cool to know how the earth works, how this continent was made, how all the other countries were formed and how they were pushed apart, what's pushing them apart, and then seeing the different layers of the earth and how it was built. It's kind of all cool, and it's a nice knowledge to know. It's kind of like, okay, now I know why this is as such, and now I know how people can foresee the weather and say whether a flood is coming, whether a volcano eruption is coming, etc. Because I knew that they could do that, but I never knew exactly how. But in all, geology is very fascinating, and you can see how it interacts and correlates with our daily lives. I hope this is of help for you and you know a little bit more about geology.